Hello and welcome to this week's episode of the Orlando World's Sunday Showdown round of 32. In this week's show, we have a battle between Epcot's futuristic test track attraction and the former dueling version of Busch Gardens' wooden roller coaster, Gwazi. First up, we take a look at both of these fun attractions before we head into a series of 5 rounds to determine this week's winner. Test Track is Epcot's futuristic track racer attraction, which was once home to the epic spectacular attraction, World of Motion. Test Track replaced the former attraction, opening on the 19th of December, 1998. Before it became the psychedelic streamlined version it is today, Test Track was originally designed as a crash test course, which was then upgraded to the Tron-like calibration setup we see today. The exhibition of lights and giant screens throughout takes riders through a series of power-ups, leading to a full calibration of the ride vehicle before the final blast through the racetrack at alarmingly high speeds. Test Track always has been a very popular attraction, with a lot of fun segments which build up the powerful payoff at the end. Gwazi originally was a dueling wooden coaster at Busch Gardens, built on the site of the old Busch Brewery, when it opened as Florida's first wooden dueling roller coaster on the 18th of June 1999. The ride did bring a thrill element which only wooden coasters can provide, with the slightly volatile wood structure rattling away as the trains roared around the tracks, offering up the traditional amusement park thrill ride. It did however come at the cost of being labelled as a rough ride. For using the more traditional building methods, being a wooden coaster it didn't offer any inversions, but it certainly offered a good thrill, compared to the steel dueling coaster at Universal Dragon Challenge. Gwazi offered a few near-miss encounters, where the trains intertwined between the wood frame, at a surprisingly quick pace for a wooden coaster, with both tracks offering a variety of flips, twists and turns. So let's get into the first round, and see which of these two attractions will take its place in the round of 16. Let's go. Long before the bright screens and Tron-like presentation of the current version of Test Track saw the light of day, the original concept was of a crash test dummy scenario, where the cars followed a series of tests as if you were playing the role of a crash test dummy. The ride was fun then and followed a very generic factory test facility style, before it was eventually upgraded to the latest version, where although the actual track ride itself remains intact to the original style, the presentation was reworked to be themed more to the innovation of car design and development, where during the pre-ride sections, you created your own sim car, which would then be developed and tested around the track according to the story. It is heavily inspired by Tron Legacy, with a much more futuristic theme, featuring dozens of giant electronic screens and lighting effects. The theming is much more appealing compared to the older version, which had more of a mechanical warehouse or factory feel. Theming for Test Track is superb, giving riders a streamlined track experience which is bright, colourful, and offers up a sense of innovation and creativity which adds to the experience. Test Track is fun, and has an amazingly powerful test run at the end, and has a decent theme and backstory to draw you in. Gwazi was originally a fully wooden roller coaster ride with 2 tracks, and more themed to that of a lion and tiger. The word Gwazi describes a mythical creature with the head of a tiger and body of a lion, representing the battle of the two beasts as they fight to be the superior species. The ride itself didn't have much theming at all, apart from the names of the different tracks and cars, although part of this was representative of the different track layouts which were supposed to resemble the characteristics of their respective animals. The area was well themed, and had a lot of scenery to look like the lion or tiger habitats, and was a lovely looking area of the park, with some streams and other themed items, but despite having a little bit of a backstory, Gwazi wasn't known for being one of the most highly themed attractions at Busch Gardens. So in round 1, Test Track passes the first test, taking the point going into round 2. Test Track has long been known for being the fastest attraction at Walt Disney World. The concept of the ride originally was designed to go much faster than the ride's current operational speeds, and was planned to go up to speeds of 95 miles per hour, but with Florida's speed limit only topping out at 65 miles per hour, the attraction was reconfigured to keep the cars within the regulations. Test Track's cars are actually real cars which have been modified to fit the advanced track system, which should help to allow the cars to operate for approximately 1 million miles before needing to be replaced, which should take around 10 years for one car to travel the distance around the long Test Track circuit before it hits that milestone. Gwazi originally travelled at fairly respectable pace for a wooden coaster. Restrictions were made on the coaster's speed, given its wooden build and dual-track layout, with near-miss elements of both trains passing certain point of the tracks at the same time, adding a bit more stress to the wooden structure. The ride was limited to speeds of up to 51 miles per hour, which for a wooden coaster was pretty fast. So in round 2, again the Epcot Speedway attraction, Test Track takes the point, giving it a 2-point lead going into round 3. Test Track operated up to 29 cars on the test circuit at any one time, with various points throughout where the cars were calibrating as part of the story, and others performing test elements. The ride was fairly quick, as it followed a linear storyline process, through various test sections, leading to the big payoff at the end with the high-speed blast around the outdoor track area. The attraction lasted approximately 4 minutes, with the majority of the ride taking place inside the Tron light display, and a short but exhilarating portion out on the speedway. It's a good duration for the ride as it builds up to the thrilling finale at the end. Gwazi originally operated for over 2.5 minutes, which for a roller coaster ride is slightly above the average time. This was mostly accounted for by the lift hill, which was over 100 foot tall, and being built on a wooden structure, takes a little longer than the slightly more efficient steel-based coasters. The ride was known for being quite rough, which often meant it was a bit of a long 2.5 minutes to endure the imperfections of the wooden ride. It was still a fun couple of minutes for those who appreciated the traditional amusement park-style coaster rides. But in round 3, it's a clean sweep so far for Test Track as it secures a commanding lead going into the penultimate round. Test Track surprisingly has the longest track for any ride within Walt Disney World. The track is just 34 feet short of 1 complete mile, clocking in over 4,286 feet in length, with the majority of the ride taking place indoors. The original plan for Test Track in its development stage was for it to be much longer, as it was supposed to be a high-speed, high-octane ride reaching speeds of almost 100 miles per hour, meaning it would have needed a much longer track to accommodate the high speeds. Gwazi had 2 tracks both equal in length, with a distance of 3,008 feet on each track, giving a combined total of 7,018 feet of track if you rode both coasters. This was some feat in engineering, given that it took over millions of feet of lumber and millions of bolts to put the attraction together. Gwazi's combined track total was several hundred feet more than rival coaster at Islands of Adventure at the time, Dragon Challenge, making it the biggest dueling coaster in Orlando at the time. Gwazi did have a decent rideability factor, having 2 tracks, which means in round 4 offering much more in track length, although over 2 coaster rides, it takes a point going into round 5. At Epcot then, there are no other attractions that produce the level of thrills quite like Test Track. There are several points within the ride where guests are surprised by the sudden change in speed or direction which heightens the thrill level. It's such a good attraction, which has been vastly improved over the years with some innovative technology making it one of the most popular experiences at Epcot. It's fast, powerful and will certainly give car enthusiasts and speed demons a good ride. The ride does feel so much faster than it actually goes, and with the added factor of riders being test subjects rather than in control of the vehicle, the riders have to put trust in the vehicle itself to get them through the segments safely, which also adds to the drama of the ride. It's not the most intense of attractions, but it will certainly create a massive buzz for those who have a need for speed. Gwazi as a dueling coaster was fun. It did have a charm about it where it was a ride you appreciated for being one of the more traditional types of ride. From the slight wobble you feel with the wood taking the strain of the cars rattling around the track, to the shift in raw power while coasting around the tight bends and steep drops, Gwazi certainly brought a fear element to riders. As many wooden rides tend to do, the flexibility of the wood as opposed to solid steel definitely heightened riders' fears, adding to the thrill factor. However, Gwazi was known for being a notoriously rough ride, throwing riders around a little bit, on a very rickety track, where you felt every bump, which did take a little bit of the fun away from the overall experience. It was still a fun ride, and with 2 tracks to ride, it was worth a visit while in the parks. And with the new hybrid upgrade with Iron Gwazi due to open sometime between now and next spring, the traditional will meet the new, taking the thrill level up a few notches. So after all 5 rounds, we have a clear runaway winner this week. Which means that the Duel roller coaster Gwazi ends its run in the competition. Gwazi was a fun ride, but was quite hard on the body, which made it an uncomfortable experience for some. But with Iron Gwazi coming soon, the ride will be given a new lease of life. Test Track advances to the next round. Join us for next week's episode where Magic Kingdom's epic attraction Haunted Mansion goes head-to-head with Busch Gardens' mighty coaster Shikara. See you next time. We hope you enjoyed this video. Please support us by subscribing to our channel. You can find us on social media platforms. Find us on Facebook and Twitter at Orlando Worlds, and on Instagram at the Orlando Worlds. Thanks for watching.